We are at Sleepy Hollow Country Club in Scarborough, New York. This is the iconic Headless Horseman statue. It derives from the legend of Sleepy Hollow. This has formed the logo of our club, which has become one of the most famous logos in golf.
The legend of Sleepy Hollow and the club is that this room is haunted. And I did stay here, and there was clanking all night long, and I didn't know what it was, and I still don't. So decide for yourself.
Right here we're looking at the beautiful mansion, which serves as our clubhouse. Italian Renaissance Revival, finished in 1893 by the Sanford White architectural firm, the top architect at the time. So the mansion itself was actually built by the Vanderbilt family. If you can believe this, that the daughter who had this given to her as a gift actually didn't like it as a residence. And when you go inside, you might see why that's the case. It's pretty imposing, and I think it probably makes a better clubhouse than it would make a home. As we understand it, the mansion cost the Vanderbilts $2.5 million to build. And when they decided that they were no longer going to use it as a residence, they sold it to the founders of Sleepy Hollow Country Club, some of the top business executives in New York, for actually a fraction of that cost. The Vanderbilts, the Rockefellers, John Astor, Macy, the list goes on, had their summer homes up here in Westchester. The clubhouse was in fact used in the movie The Greatest Showman. And there's a great scene when they first come to his wife's family's home. They come around that bend and they come up here, and to do the shot they had to put dirt all over all pavement. You know, our members love seeing that in the movie.
So our Woodlea mansion here is one of the many unbelievable mansions designed for the Vanderbilt family. The breakers, the Biltmore, marble, grandeur. This is one of many, but this one certainly is a special one. So if you notice, this is not a regular stair, very high. Back in the day, they used to arrive by boat on the river. There's a park there now, Scarborough Park, that the family used to own. Take a boat up from the city, get onto their horse and carriage, get dropped off here, and then they would get right out of the carriage on this high step and enter into our beautiful library. One of the treasured rooms in the Woodlea mansion, named the Woodlea mansion by the family before it became Sleepy Hollow Country Club. It's a very special room for the membership. It is our winter dining room, and as you can see, I can direct you to the ceiling, the incredible craftsmanship. Here at Sleepy Hollow Country Club, we have a great story about the American dream. One of the original artists who came from Sweden to create this wonderful plaster ceiling was here working on this for over a year. He then decided to stay in the United States, and later on, his son was a very successful businessman, and his grandson later joined the club, not only joined the club, became a president of the club. Welcome to the Cedar Room, another one of our historic rooms. If you notice, again, the beautiful ceilings, the wood carvings, hand done, unbelievable craftsmanship. I mean, the florets in the columns, they just don't make it like this anymore. As you can imagine, while these giants of industry are here dining, relaxing after golf, and they needed some help or some service, they would just hit one of their buttons here, which is the butler's pantry, servants' hall, second floor hall, and their staff would come running. Pretty amazing way to live back in the day.
Okay, so now we've entered the Gold Room. This served as basically a ballroom for big events at the mansion. Even today, for indoor weddings, this serves many times as the dance floor. And it leads to what really is most special about Sleepy Hollow, our elevated views of the Hudson River. The Rockefeller family had so much to do with the formation of the club. They wanted an unspoiled view, so at the time they had the resources to actually purchase land on the other side of the Hudson River to keep our view unspoiled, and we're so glad that they did. I don't know if you can hear the echo, but my kids love to stand right underneath the dome and get that echo effect. It's kind of a tradition. So now we're looking back east into the mansion. This is probably the most beautiful view of our mansion. This area here serves for many huge functions, including our 4th of July party, which is our signature event. From that side, fireworks cascading right towards the crowd, and it's just a really beautiful event. I will add as a side note, my wife and I, our reception was right here, and so this has a special place in my heart.
So our first tee here, the legend is Olmsted, who did all the Central Park gardens, his children essentially designed the gardens here at the club. And you notice these columns here. The legend is some of them were moved and many of the gardens were here right on the first tee and are buried under the first tee, which is pretty amazing. So if we ever wanted to reclaim those and use them, that's where they are.
It's an interesting story, our golf course. It's a C.B. Macdonald course. It was styled as a links style course. During development, they actually brought Tillinghast in to design the middle holes. And when we hired Gil Hands to do the redesign, the decision was made to restore it to its full C.B. Macdonald glory. I wouldn't want to be a tree at Sleepy Hollow in the last 20 years. We're up here on the 4th tee overlooking the 16th tee and the 16th green, which is considered the signature hole at Sleepy Hollow, called the thumbprint. The 15th hole, you can see this is a signature C.B. Macdonald punch bowl, and you can see that ball right now hit to the end of the green, which rolls back towards the middle. People, even the first time they play, they can remember all 18 holes because they're so different and they just don't mirror each other. So it's really a unique layout. So about 20 years ago, we did a renovation of the men's locker room, and thought was given to putting in wood lockers to give it a more traditional feel. But we thought, this is what we started with, this is what we're going to stay with. This happens to be my locker. I think my wife would be surprised at how neat it is relative to other stuff in my life. So this wall is the original wall from the original mansion, and the locker room and the grill area and the pro shop, you'll see an extension. And this is rose granite, and you can find this granite all over the property. So this is the iconic Headless Horseman statue. This has then formed the logo of our club, which has become one of the most famous logos in golf. It derives from the legend of Sleepy Hollow. Washington Irving wrote that down here in Irvington, just about 5 miles down the road. And as you can see, this is the legend of Sleepy Hollow throwing the flaming pumpkin.
The difference between the two logos, one has the flaming pumpkin, one has the head. At some point, the head was thought to be too grotesque for dining. So the logo then became pumpkin. But really, in our pro shop, what everyone loves is the head. Welcome to our main bar. So this is the bar that is in the mansion and used for winter dining. It is very special to our membership, sort of a little jewel box, I must say, with the fireplace, incredible bar, very intimate and small. Not much has been done to this room, and that's on purpose. Here at the club, we love patina. You can build anything new, but you can't build what was old. Welcome to one of our guest rooms, room C. The fireplace mantle is carved beautifully, but it matches the headboard, the bedpost, the mirror, their desk. Pretty incredible. So this is all original Vanderbilt furniture. We have 18 guest rooms. So in the mansion, this was just one of the regular bedrooms, and they're all very large, 16-foot ceilings. Pretty unbelievable. It's so unbelievable that Beyonce selected this room to do one of her music videos in. Here, getting ready for her wedding in the video, and then actually having the wedding on the West Lawn. Pretty special. Now, room H. Very unusual and special room. The legend of Sleepy Hollow and the club is that this room is haunted. So many of our members, some like to stay in it and some will not stay in it. So if you notice, this room here is a Moroccan themed room. So let me just start with some of the little details. The fireplace is inlaid wood, and that is real mother of pearl in the fireplace. It also matches the furniture as well. You can see the TV stand credenza and some of the other furniture in the rooms. Very special. So we had a very unusual piece in this room. If you head up towards the ceiling here, there was a tapestry on the ceiling that was original, that was hanging down and was essentially dust. We had some curators come in, take it down. The process took over a year to fix. It was essentially silk dust. The cost was well over 6 figures to repair that and put that in. We also had another challenge, that there was no restroom in this room, and how do we have a restroom with a ceiling like this? So we created a water closet. which functions very well. So the legend is, as being a very old building, this is the room that the ghosts have chosen, the past predecessors that lived in the building or stayed in the building, this is the room they decided to haunt. And I did stay here a long time ago when I first started, about 8 years ago, and there was clanking all night long and I didn't know what it was, and I still don't. So decide for yourself. Welcome to the Sleepy Hollow Stables. This is also McKim Mead and White designed stable built in 1911. Pretty special. The rumor is it was built for $300,000 back in 1911. You can imagine what that would be today. There is 50 stalls for horses. They're all jumping horses. We have our indoor riding rink, which is amazing. So winter sports there for jumping is very prevalent. The viewing room is pretty fantastic as well for parents or siblings to watch and stay warm while their children or sister or brother ride and practice their jumping. This is our maintenance facility. I don't know how many maintenance facilities are McKim Mead and White designed facilities as well. This was the original carriage house where they kept all their horses and the carriages to take the families around the property and to the club. Then it became their high-end garage for all the cars that they owned. Hence, what do we do with it after it became a club? It is a maintenance facility with an incredible slate roof and a McKim Mead and White building. Pretty special.
So today's actually opening day for women's paddle. You can see they're practicing hard for the season. And right behind us here is an amazing facility. We call it the amphitheater. We have concerts down here, and in the summer sometimes we show movies for the kids. The kids all sit up there with blankets, and the movie screen would be right around where you see that structure right there. Fabulous. So this is pretty ragtag now, but back in the day, this is a root cellar. So before refrigeration, they would put all the vegetables in here because, as you could see, it's a thatched roof and they could keep the vegetables nice and fresh in this building. So we have two gatehouses, one at the front entrance, one at our back entrance. And originally, these were used as guest homes for visitors. More recently, they've housed our top professionals. This is where Dave and Barb Young raised their son Cameron, who is Sleepy Hollow's first son right now. Just finished an unbelievable Ryder Cup performance, top 10 in the world, and this is where he grew up. So here we are inside the Skeeton Trap Lodge. This is probably the only place on the property where you can't get a drink, because during the hours of 10 and 2 on the weekends when we shoot, obviously guns and alcohol do not mix. So typically when the shooters come up, it's in the cold weather months, and there's always a generous supply of chili and hot soup. This is one of the favorite places in the club. It's like its own little world out here.
Well, I just went home to change into my shooting suit, which is a great winter sport here at the club. You know, one thing great about Sleepy Hollow Country Club is myself, I live on property, our director of golf, our director of tennis. They really encourage us and our families to utilize the club. So this is a sport that I enjoy, that I do utilize. Pull. You really become a caretaker of the history of the club, which is really special. Furniture and the ceilings and all this stuff, which is a lot of maintenance and needs a lot of care, but it's so special. I almost feel like a little bit of a museum curator at points.
Because Sleepy Hollow is so unique, I think the members really kind of fall in love with its history. It's very nostalgic. So I think most people know about the history of the club, but once you walk into that mansion, if you don't know it, you're going to ask about it.